These 11 cleaning tricks will change your life. Watch this video to find out how you can achieve incredible results with minimal effort and ingenious options. Let's start with trick number 1. There is actually an incredibly ingenious trick that you can use to easily remove hair from a razor like this. Because over time, a few small hairs collect here, which also get into the device. Of course, you could take it apart and completely remove the hairs. But most of the hairs that are all over the place can be removed with an ingenious trick. All you need is a small bowl full of water. Because if you put your razor in here with just the blade at the front and then start it, it will be rinsed thoroughly from the inside. This removes the hairs on the outside and also flies everything out from the inside, as you can see here. I have some of the hair directly in the bowl, so the worst of it is already gone and you can only clean the finer details later. Whether you have a fully automatic coffee machine or a pot machine, somewhere you have this compartment where the pots or coffee grounds fall into. But even when you tip them out, the tray is usually very dirty. Sometimes even starting to mold and everything has got stuck in there. To prevent this, all you need is a piece of kitchen roll. Tear off a piece, fold it so that it fits into your drip tray and place it here. Put it back into the appliance. If you make a coffee now and the coffee grounds or the pad fall into this tray afterwards, they will fall directly onto the household cloth. This makes it much easier to dispose of. Take out all the rubbish and there won't be so much left in the bowl to clean. The small residues that are still in there can usually be rinsed out quickly and easily. And have you ever rubbed your tap with a candle? This trick is really ingenious because it can ensure that you have to clean much less often in future. You've probably noticed that limescale and water stains quickly appear on the tap. Even if you've just cleaned it, it's full of them again afterwards. And you can fix this with a candle. However, you don't need a colored candle for this, but a white candle, because we don't want to spread any paint on the tap. Once you have completely cleaned the tap, you should now rub this white candle over your tap. This will leave small streaks, as you can see here. But that's not too bad, because what we're going to do is spreading a very thin layer of the wax on our tap. Once you've rubbed it over a little, you can grab a microfiber cloth. You should now use this to start polishing in the wax. Rub it over the entire tap in a circular motion. After a while, you will see that the streaks become less and less. And now you have sealed your tap. As you can see here, the water will simply run down. This prevents limescale stains from forming and you'll have to clean it much less often. You should repeat this process every 1 to 2 weeks so that the seal is intact again. And have you ever cleaned your hob with a knife? This is another really ingenious trick, because even if you clean your hob regularly, there are places on the hob that are still very dirty and can only be cleaned with a knife or other sharp object. I'll show you which ones now. Because have you ever looked around the outside of your cooker? There is usually a small gap here and a lot of dirt collects here that you can't see with the naked eye. To clean this now, grab a knife like this, for example. Now also take a piece of kitchen roll and wrap it around the top. You can also get it a little wet to make cleaning even easier. And once you've done that, start wiping under your hob, right along this groove, as you can see here. I now wipe through once, and when I pull the knife out again, you can see that a lot of dirt has accumulated here over time that was not immediately visible. So regularly wipe around your entire hob if you have an edge like this, because then it will be really clean again. Have you burned something in a pan or pot and it's quite burnt? There's an ingenious trick that you can use to clean it really easily. To do this, we need to proceed in 2 steps. For the first step, we need some ginger, because ginger can actually help you to clean burnt and uncrusted areas. It doesn't have to be fresh ginger. It can also be an older ginger that you may no longer want to eat. Cut it into smaller pieces and simply place it in the pan. Now add enough water so that all the burnt bits have disappeared under the water. Now place this mixture on the hob and switch it on. Leave to simmer for a few minutes. You will quickly see that the burnt areas will dissolve. Once the mixture is boiled and you have left it to stand for a few minutes, you can pour out the water and now only need to wipe out the residue, which should have dissolved well. If you have now done this, but there is still a residue in the stainless steel pot or pan, there is also a really ingenious trick for this. You can use some toothpaste for this. You can use toothpaste to completely clean such smears and make the stainless steel shine again. Simply pour a good amount of toothpaste directly into the pan or pot. Now grab some water and a sponge and start wiping through the entire pan. After a short time you will see that even the last traces of discoloration have disappeared and everything is really shiny again. In the end your pan or pot will be really nice and clean again, just as it should be. But what do we do if the bottom of our pan is badly burnt because something has boiled over? There's a really quick insider tip for this too. All you really need is some shaving foam. Shaving foam has an incredible cleaning effect, especially on stainless steel surfaces. Apply a good amount of shaving foam to all the burnt areas and rub it in well. The next step is to leave it for around 30 to 60 minutes. When the time is up, you can take a sponge, dampen it a little and start wiping it over. As you can see here, most of the burnt on areas are completely dissolved and I just have to rub the dirt away. In some places you may need to wipe a little harder or you can simply repeat this process. Finally, rinse off all the remaining shaving foam and the pot is completely clean again from underneath, all thanks to just a small amount of shaving foam. And if you use wooden spoons like this, you really must use this trick because I couldn't believe what else came out of it. Although I clean it regularly, a lot of dirt has accumulated in here that you can't see with the naked eye. And to clean it again, all you need is a container in which you now can place this wooden spoon so that it is almost completely submerged in water. So tip some water into it. And then we need another important ingredient. This is baking soda. You can also get it from my shop. You can find the link at the bottom of the video description. Now add 3 tablespoons of it to the water. Once you've done this, you can also put your wooden spoons in here. Now put all your wooden utensils in here and stir well. Leave it to stand for about 20 to 30 minutes. After a short time you will see how the water starts to change color as some of the dirt that was still in the wooden spoon dissolves. In my case the water actually looks like this at the end. Now rinse the spoon again and leave it to dry thoroughly. And that's how you get it really clean again. You should repeat this every 2 months or so. If you break a glass, the most annoying thing about it is all the broken glass in your home. Of course you can remove the large shards with your bare hands, but you can easily remove the many small fine shards that you can barely see with a piece of toast. Preferably an older piece of bread that you will no longer eat. Press it all over the floor and all the shards will end up in the bread and you can remove them really quickly and easily. And for the next trick we need a balloon, which you should now attach to your tap. But first you need to do something important with it. To do this, grab a sharp object and pierce the balloon once so that there is a hole at the bottom. Now you can put it over your tap, because when you turn it on now, the water will come through this hole down here. And if your sink is very dirty but you can't pull on your tap somehow, then you can actually use it to clean everything in your entire sink simply by moving the balloon back and forth, as you can see in my picture. That way it'll be really nice and clean again at the end. And when you've finished you can simply take the balloon off, put it somewhere in a cupboard and take it out again every time you need to clean something like this, as it works much more easily. Another really ingenious trick is when you clean your toilet with the toilet brush. Don't put it straight back into the toilet brush holder, because of course there is still some water in the toilet brush, which then drips out and remains in the holder. Instead you can simply hang it under your toilet seat and let it drip off. This is because all the excess water will now simply drip down here. After a while you can take them out again and put them in the toilet brush holder. This way it won't be constantly full of water. If you have ever tried to vacuum clean a curtain, then you will also be familiar with the problem of the entire curtain being sucked into the hoover. What you can use to help here is a tennis racket or badminton racket. If you hold this in front of the curtain and go over it with the hoover, you will no longer suck in the curtain, but you can vacuum the entire surface perfectly. Would you like to find out more about 8 incredibly cleaning tricks with baking soda that everyone should know? Then be sure to watch the video linked to you here.